Alright, so we're going to continue going in there. I just picked up some more black, so I'm going to check the black over here. And on my little piece of paper, make sure it's about the same thinness. Remember, you don't want the black to be too strong. You want it to be real soft. You want to sneak up on these shadows. Alright, so we're just going to add a couple little wrinkles in here, and I think we're getting that live look to it. So we're starting to get that nice fold in here, looks good. Looks like the flag wraps around itself. Alright. Alright, so like Wiki said, let's go in here and just do a little bit of deepening to the folds in the flag with the weak black. Doesn't really need much, but let's just do a little bit. Let's just kind of go in here and just add some of these lines in here. Now we're going to have to come back into this flag again and shadow again. But not right now. Right now we're just adding a little texture to it, not much. Alright. Now with that said and done, we either have to get down and dirty with a paintbrush if you're not comfortable with using an airbrush. Now a paintbrush will work just as good, but I prefer using the airbrush. This is where we have to get our paint to flow perfect. This is no playing around time. This is where it hits. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I got this guy that's supposed to be working on my website, but you know how he is. Too busy trying to change the appearance of his website. Oh, wait. Hey, I know that guy. Alright, so I'm cleaning out my Renegade. I got the Renegade Velocity. Now, like I said, it's not the size of the nozzle that makes the difference on this. It's a taper of the needle. So you want to find an airbrush that's real comfortable in your hand. So, alright, now I'm going to grab a little bit of Spectratex white. Now with the white I reduce it a little bit just because it's designed to cover on fabric. Now I'm going to check it again, make sure that it's not too thin. I want to be able to build up a line. I'm going to test it on an area to where I can afford to make a mistake, which is on the white. Okay, it's working good. So I'll just do a little bit of the stitching here on the white. And it might be something hard for you guys to see right now, but you'll see it when it's on the red. Alright, so now how do we do these stars? Now these stars are actually done in 3 pieces. You'll have a line. Now remember we put that black on here? This is why we did that black. Now with the embroidery look, it's not what we keep. I mean, it's not what we put down, it's what we keep. We're going to have the star that looks high in the center because when you embroider, you actually get this pattern of being high in the center, right? So I do a little tiny star on the inside. Okay. Now from there, we're going to decide on which direction the air is coming, the light's coming from. So I got light coming basically from this direction. So we're going to start with just doing a little tiny dots. Now see, I'm pulling back on the needle and nothing's coming out. So I'm not going to sit there and try to get it to come out. I'll pull it off to the side, spray it off to the side, and come back. Now I'm just going to take the airbrush and add in a couple lines, leaving some of it, some of the black there. We don't need to fill up the whole black. If you fill up the whole black, you're not going to get that embroidered look. Now you want to not see a masked line here. You want to see your dots. So your dots are going to go slightly over that masked line. That's why we need it to cover. So now we're going to do the same to this side because this side would have the same embroidered look. Right? So that's all I'm doing is just kind of getting those lines in there. And what you're doing is you're actually hiding the mask look. So now it's not going to look like sorry about that. Alright. So we're going to hit just a little bit of these lines just to hide the masking. Now once again, if you're pulling back and you're not getting anything, then don't sit there and force it out. Spray it off to the side. Keep with the embroidery look and just kind of bounce it around. Now remember that the center of the star is higher. Now the object is to get rid of that masked line, so you're just going to go in there and just lightly hit that line with a little bit of bumps. So see how you're starting to get that look of actual stitching in there? Now if you want to get real trick, you can always at the end of a star have just a little bit of fabric edge coming off that bottom edge. Because when the embroidery stops and they cut the threads will hang. So you'll have that little bit of hanging. So that's basically, this is what we started with. Just a flat cut out star, and then you get that embroidered look. So that's why we went in there and sprayed that really weak shadow. So same thing, we're going to start with the center of the star and do our little cross pattern. And we get our thread in, just start laying in our thread. Now of course the bigger you do this, the more detail you can get into that thread pattern. Now when you're doing this, you want to leave the black there. You want to leave some of the black there. If you just covered up all the black with just white, you wouldn't have that stitch look. You wouldn't have that material. You have to have the gaps in the material to keep it going. Now, because this is shadowed, we could actually go more further apart. And that'll give that bright and dark area. Now, if you're not comfortable doing it with an airbrush, you can do it with a paintbrush. But if you do it with a paintbrush, then you're going to have to come back in with a little bit of black and shadow it a little more, because the paintbrush is going to be so harsh. Like I said, you want to hit that masked edge just to get rid of that look of being so sharply masked. I had you guys on the wrong star. I apologize. That's the star we just did. Alright, so now we're going to work on this one. Now we do this little star thing in the center first, because that gives us where our high point is. Gives us our center location. And then we just start stitching off of that. I can't wait to see your guys' flag on the airbrush form. Imagine what the neighbors would say if your mailbox had this on it if you're from the States. If not, do your flag. If you don't have stars, then you can make it to where it looks like the blues embroidered, or just the stitch marks on it's going to take it away from that flat look to it. Now this is why I think dagger strokes are real important, because basically that's all you're doing is a whole bunch of little dagger strokes. I know some people say that knowing how to do artwork is more important, but when you get into graphics, a lot of it is just a matter of doing a whole bunch of lines or something. So it's important to know everything about airbrushing. So now we could have just masked off the stars and called it good with just the masked off stars, but you can see how taking this little bit extra time can really make it come to life. It takes just a little bit of airbrush control. Like I said, if you're nervous about using an airbrush, you could use a paintbrush. Well, either way, try them both ways. See which way looks good to you. What I'm going to do is just come in with a brush and do a couple lines in here too. I want to give it that little extra oomph. Just looking all right, but it's not what I want. So how's everybody doing out there? Who's following along and how's it coming? Yes, that's exactly how you would do it, Doug. I'm just going to come in here and add a couple of highlights on the hot side of the